So welcome to session 4. Again, I'm going to take a look at some multiple choice questions. And multiple choice questions are going to come from Reagan and Lipsey 12th edition. And this is the website that I'm using. And you can go to that website and there's lots of questions for you to choose from. This session is going to look at government intervention in the market. So after you've done demand and supply and after you've done elasticity, a lot of textbooks have a chapter that looks at government interactions in the market or markets in action, where you get to apply a lot of what you learned in the last two chapters. And what we'll find, and I'll go to this website, so I'll click onto here, and I'll show you what it looks like. So when you type that address in, you'll go to a website such as this one here. Just click on the 12th edition. Okay, and we're looking at questions from chapter 5, multiple choice ones. And again, all the answers are there, so you can just look at the questions and try it out, and it'll grade it and see how you do, and it'll give you the right answer with some explanation if you get it wrong. Now, the questions that I'm going to focus on questions that are very universal. So what I mean by that is if you're not using this textbook, if you're using another microeconomics textbook, you'll still find these questions to be quite useful. I also try and focus on questions that are very fundamental, that focus on the fundamentals. So that's going to help you learn a lot of the concepts as well. So let's start with the first one. Okay, so the first question is saying, at a regulated price, so there's government interaction in the market. So at a regulated price, there is excess supply. So let's take a look at how that looks. So we'll just draw our demand and supply diagram. We've got quantity here on this axis, and price here. Here's our demand curve. Here's our supply curve. Okay, so we have excess supply. Now, the only way we get excess supply is if we have a price above the equilibrium price. Okay, and this would be excess supply. So let's say that the government has set a law to fix the price at $10, and it's above the unregulated price. If it was not regulated, if price was not regulated, and again, we're just making up these numbers here. Let's just say the price would be $8. Okay, and at $8 you can see the market clears. Demand equals supply at $8, and we have the equilibrium. But if we have excess supply, take a look here. Where it hits the demand curve is quantity demanded, and where it hits the supply curve is quantity supplied. And let's make up some numbers. Let's say at $10, consumers will say, oh, okay, we'll buy 40 units per day in this market. But take a look here. At $10, that's a great price for the suppliers. They would like to supply, looks like, I'll just make up a number, let's say 85 units. And the difference between the two is a surplus. Okay, so this high price has turned off consumers. They don't want to buy as much. And this high price has excited the producers, and they would like to produce lots. So this surplus is the same thing as excess supply. So this is the only way that we get excess supply. And again, at this $10 price, take a look here, people are going to buy 40. You can't force them to buy more. That's where it hits the demand curve. Buyers in the market, the most they're going to buy is 40 in this case here. So if we look at answer A, none of the product will be exchanged, that answer is wrong. We know, at least from our numerical example that we did here, at least 40 is going to be sold in the market. The market is in equilibrium. Well, the market is not in equilibrium because they've forced excess supply. And excess supply isn't something that is saying that there's equilibrium. When we're at equilibrium, quantity demanded equals quantity supplied, which would occur in our example at $8. So we're not at equilibrium. Take a look at C. C says the market is in disequilibrium. This is true. Okay, so we're not at equilibrium. We're in what we call a disequilibrium. Let's look at D. The quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied. That's not true because look, quantity demanded is 40 and quantity supplied is 85. So it's quantity supplied that exceeds quantity demanded, not the other way around. So quantity demanded is smaller than the quantity supplied. So this is not true. And E, there are unsuccessful buyers. In this case, the price that the government forced in the market is $10, and the amount that's bought is 40. So there's nobody left with saying, "Hey, I've got $10. Where's the rest of the product? It ran out." This is not the case. Everybody that wants to buy at $10 will be able to buy, and in this case here, our number that we use is 40. Okay, so E is wrong as well. Let's take a look at the next question. Okay, this question here, a price ceiling set above the equilibrium price. What's going to happen there? And at any time, feel free to pause and go through it and see what you get for an answer, and then compare it to what I walk you through as well. And also feel free to draw what I'm drawing, and that'll give you some background and some notes if you want to look at it. And again, you'll learn better if your pen's moving and you're walking through this with me. Okay, so first one we're going to look at is what exactly is a price ceiling? So a price ceiling is basically a maximum allowed price. Okay, so the government has set some kind of law, and they're saying this is the maximum price you can have in the market. You can't price it more than this. You can price it at this amount or lower than this amount. That's okay. Okay, so this is the maximum allowed price for a price ceiling. Now, if somebody sets it above the equilibrium price, let's draw that. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so here's our demand curve here. And here's our supply curve. Now in this case here, a price ceiling, an example of a price ceiling would be rent control. So rent control can be a type of price ceiling. Now the first generation of rent control was very straightforward. It was a set price ceiling saying you can't charge more than this amount per month for, let's say, a one-bedroom apartment. And that and it's gotten more complicated since then, but the original was there's a set amount, what we call a price ceiling, on the maximum that you can charge for rent, and that was rent control. Okay, let's use rent control as an example here. Let's say in the marketplace for a one-bedroom apartment, equilibrium price is $800. Okay, but the government comes in and says, oh, we're going to set a price ceiling for one-bedroom apartments of $1,000. Okay, we can write this in. And again, I'm making up all these numbers. But what I'm not making up is the price ceiling being above equilibrium price. And they're set it at 1,000. Okay. So take a look here. So remember, the price ceiling is the maximum allowed price. So the maximum allowed price, so 1,000 and below is okay. You're not violating the right. You're not violating the law at all. If you price above 1,000, then you're breaking this law, and you're going to get the penalties that come with it. Now take a look here. Equilibrium price is not prevented from occurring. Okay, so it's not prevented from occurring based on the definition. Remember, the definition was the price ceiling is a maximum allowed price. So that amount, which in our example is 1,000, and below is okay. But guess what? Equilibrium price is below, and that's okay. So this is a situation where the price ceiling has no effect, and it won't affect the market, and it's sometimes called non-binding, depending on what type of book you have. Now take a look here. Okay, so the equilibrium price and amount will occur, so there's not going to be any excess demand or excess supply, and they're trying to trick you here, but a surplus and excess supply are the same thing. And a shortage and excess demand are essentially the same thing. So we can wipe those out. And the equilibrium price being the result is not one of the choices here. So we would say none of the above for that one. So that's it for this particular video. In the next video, I'll finish off the rest of this chapter. So stay tuned for that one. Thanks.